Handheld radios used by Lebanese armed group Hezbollah detonated across Lebanon's south and Beirut suburbs, further stoking tensions with Israel a day after similar explosions by the group's pages. Lebanon's health ministry said 14 people had been killed and 450 injured, while the death toll from Tuesday's explosion rose to 12, including 2 children with nearly 3,000 injured. Israeli officials have not commented on the attacks on the Hezbollah communications devices over the past 2 days, but security sources have said Israel's spy agency Mossad was responsible. Hezbollah has vowed to retaliate against Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon have been trading hostilities over the border since the outbreak of the war in Gaza, but the detonation of thousands of Hezbollah pages and handheld radio devices has raised fears of a major escalation. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that pager blasts targeting militant group Hezbollah indicate a serious risk of a dramatic escalation in Lebanon, and everything must be done to avoid that escalation.
And I think that what has happened is particularly serious, not only because of the number of victims that it caused, but because of the indications that exist that this was triggered, I would say, in advance of the normal way to trigger these things, because there was a risk of this being discovered. Because obviously the logic of making all these devices explode is to do it as a preemptive strike before a major military operation. So, as important as the event in itself is the indication that this event confirms that there is a serious risk of a dramatic escalation in Lebanon, and everything must be done to avoid that escalation. Indeed, I think it's very important that there is an effective control of civilian objects, not to weaponize civilian objects. That should be a rule that everywhere in the world governments should be able to implement. The link of what's happening in Lebanon with what's happening in Gaza is obvious since the beginning. I mean, the Hezbollah has been very clear in saying that it has launched its operations because of what's happening in Gaza, and that it will stop when there will be a ceasefire in Gaza.